Hello, this is Hal Richardson. We're continuing with our study of resurrection, rapture, and rescue. This will be lesson 8 in the series. We've covered so many things. Last week we went further into scriptures for the skeptics, just showing that God had talked about the rapture of the church, even through the Old Testament and some other scriptures. And, of course, the difference between the second coming of Christ and the rapture would be that Christ comes in the air for his church, and he comes and sets foot on the earth in the second coming on the Mount of Olives and splits it in half. There's going to be a dramatic difference. Even though the rapture it takes place, only those that are Christ are going to hear his voice, and they're the ones that are going. And the rest of the world will just know they're not here anymore. Here's more scriptures that testify to the rapture being pre-tribulation. I know that we've shown in our summary that there actually is a rapture mid-tribulation, but that's for the people that were made Christians, and most of them being Jewish, and there'll be others too, I'm sure, but that was the main focus. That's why the 144,000 Jewish evangelists are during the 7-year period, the 2 prophets that come and stay in Jerusalem, and there's a point where they're redeemed, and it shows that, and we've already talked about that in our lessons, but that's a mid-tribulation rapture. They're taken away from the great tribulation. But the church is going pre-trib. Revelation 4:1. After this I looked, and behold, a door was open in heaven. And the first voice I heard, as it were, was a trumpet talking with me, which said, "Come up hither, I will show you the things which must be hereafter." The big deal about this is John and his vision when he was sitting on Patmos, and the similitude to the rapture here, and I believe this is a description of that. A door open in heaven, the voice as a trumpet calls him, "Come on up here." And that's after you get through Revelation 4, you really don't see the church mentioned anymore in the rapture. I mean, you don't see the church mentioned anymore in Scripture through the rest of the Revelation, and of course still later as far as being on the earth. Immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. In Revelation 5:7, and he came and he took the book out of the right hand that sat on of him that sat upon the throne. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of the saints. Now this is incense and stuff, just to explain that a little bit, and that the 4 beasts are the lion and the lamb, or the lion and the bull, the man and the eagle. These are the seraphim. And the 24 elders, not real sure of that. I believe that this is a future time, and it's going to be, well, it could be now as well, but it's going to be the 12 sons of Jacob and the 12, or Israel, and the 12 apostles of the Lamb. But they sung a new song, saying, "Thou art worthy to take the book, and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain." And they're talking to the Lamb here. "And has redeemed us to God by the blood of every kindred, and tongue, and people, and nation, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth." So, here we see the church is in heaven. And this is right after the first glimpse that John had. So, in Revelation 5, he has redeemed us to God. And these people are singing before God, coming what else could this be but what's happened at the rapture? In Colossians 3:4, when Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then we also appear with him in glory. Now, Paul had a revelation of this. He's wrote most of our rapture scriptures, but he knows that Christ is coming for us, and he's mentioning this in Colossians. Hebrews 12:22, but ye are come unto Mount Zion, and unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, to the assembly, the general assembly, and the church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to God the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Jesus the mediator of the new covenant, and the blood of the sprinkling that speaks of better things than that of Abel. Now this is Hebrews, and understand it was written to the Hebrews, so it's written to the Jewish people, but he's talking about the general assembly and the church of the firstborn that are written in heaven, and to God the judge of all. And this is where we're going. And Paul is talking like it's already happened, but that's the way God talks. We must understand these things to be filled with the hope that is in us. In Matthew 24:37, as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not till the flood came and took them all away, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Then there will be two in the field, one will be taken, the other left. Two women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, you know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. So therefore be ye also ready, for such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. In my opinion, this is another rapture scripture, and there's people that talk like it's not, in different, but I'm showing you these scriptures all together. The Lord will come for his people. Of that I'm sure. Daniel 12:1. At that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble which is never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one found written in the book. And many that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. That encompasses a lot here. But when thy people will be delivered, it might be talking about the Jews in the tribulation, but I believe it also means the people of God. And the people of God are right now, it's the time of the Gentiles. I mean, it's going to be, we're going to be delivered. We are going to be delivered from the wrath of God. In Luke 17:33, whosoever shall seek to save his life will lose it. Whosoever loses life shall preserve it. I tell you, in that night there will be two men in one bed, one will be taken and the other left. Two men will be grinding together, one will be taken and the other left. Two men will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. And when they answered and they said to him, where, Lord? And he said, wherever the body is, there will the eagles be gathered together. In this study, I've given you a lot of golden nuggets from Scripture that stand behind the rapture of the church. I'm sure with study and research you can find more, for it is no longer a hidden truth. One day soon, the trumpet will sound. Don't try to place the trumpet into the point of the 7 trumpets in the tribulation that are mentioned in the Revelation. It will confuse you. There are many festivals and special events that were announced with the trumpets. The trumpet is nothing more than the ram's horn. I say nothing more, that's a lot. But it's the ram's horn, and the ram had to die to give you that trumpet. It is a symbol of Jesus himself, Jesus being the lamb that was killed for God and killed for us and at God's will. And they break the horn off and make a trumpet out of it. It's a sign of him. But also to try to guess the time is futile. Jesus told us to take heed of the signs of the times. We've seen a lot of that in the few years, and this year especially in 2017. There's been increased violent storms, increased number of intensity of earthquakes, wars, rumors of wars, signs of the heavens that fall on the Jewish festivals, the sign of Revelation 12 just passed in September. I'm not making any type of time prediction here, but I know that every day brings us closer and that we will be going home soon. The King will be coming and calling for his bride, and by his grace she has made herself spotless in the blood, so that we by faith are ready to go. It's not looking at yourself and saying, I'm going to make myself perfect. Jesus has made you perfect in his blood, and that's where you need to stand and know that, yes, in him I am the righteousness of God, not because of me, because of him that died for me and covered me with his blood, and his righteousness now has become mine. I have posted this in my blog as well, and Layman Looks at the Word.blogspot.com, and if you need to make prayer requests or anything like that, do a Layman Looks at the Word at yahoo.com, and you'll get me on the email. I've posted this to give you hope and comfort, for when Jesus returns, it will be a glorious day and a happy reunion. This is Hal Richardson. Join me next week, and we'll start a brand new program. Bye for now.